least for a little while. It is important to note, though, just as a kind of a detail, that Solid School has played more games than Inting for Globes, so technically they're already a game behind, but they're still at 30 points, and a win today would definitely help them out a lot, and could definitely nail them that #1 spot. But now the map pick and bans have already happened, so let's take a look over there. Now, I did have to swap the teams because they're on the wrong sides, but it's fine. This should still be correct, though. A Solid School banning away Dragonshire and Tomb of the Spider Queen, with Inting for Globes banning away Battlefield of Eternity and Brax's Holdout. And the map picked is going to be Cursed Hollow. So we're going to have that big map. We're going to have that macro map. And it should be a ton of fun. I mean, both these two teams, we know they really love that macro play. Their rotations are crisp. They are fast. The pace is going to be high. And these are the games we all love to watch. So all players are in. And both sides are ready. But we are having a little bit of a technical issue right now. One of the players needs to restart their application due to a version mismatch, apparently. Or something like that. Who knows? But we should be getting started soon. And like I said, this is gonna determine who's gonna be able to be #1 in the Heroic Division, at least temporarily. I mean, right now on paper, Inting for Globes, they're definitely the current #1s. But I mean, there's a lot of space for it to be kind of contested. And it looks like we are remaking the lobby entire, so slight delay to start, but we'll see how it goes. But Rodney's Imaginary Friends, they could also close in on this. Now, right now, they're technically slightly more than a game behind Inting for Globes, while they've only played one less game overall. But if Inting for Globes doesn't win today, or if they don't get a domination, that #1 spot is still reachable for them. And 9-5 as well. It's going to be harder for them because they are quite a bit behind Inting for Globes now, sitting at 23 points compared to the 32 that Inting for Globes has. But it is reachable. As it looks like the teams... let me just double check that they're in the right order. Yeah, okay. Just making sure the teams are the correct spot. You know how these things are sometimes. But yeah, it's going to be the majority of the French-Canadian team, a Solid School. Most of their team is based over in Quebec. They are really solid players. They're a really solid team, but Inting for Globes, they've been really good for a very, very long time. But they have been fallible. And as I say that, the draft does get started. So let's get into Cursed Hollow immediately. But now this is one of those macro maps. This is one of those larger maps. So there's definitely going to be a lot of emphasis over on those globals. Especially Dahaka, obviously. If it's not banned away, I assume it will get picked up by at least one of these two teams. But it also depends on the overall style they like to play. So first ban's actually going to be going towards the Hogger on the side of Inting for Globes. And Lucio will get banned away by a Solid School. Both these two teams, at least to start, have started banning out pretty quickly. Brightwing going to be next to follow for Inting for Globes. And the Brightwing ban especially kind of does it from two extents. On one hand, you don't want that as a healer. And on the other, you just want to remove the global from this massive map. But Solid School banning away the Oriole, as it seems there's a lot of focus on removing those healers from this game, just removing them from the map. And they're definitely going to have to go down a little bit. But Dahaka, first pick for Concept. Not too surprising to see that. Obviously, really good hero overall, really good offlaner. But especially on a macro map like Cursed Hollow, having that brush stalker, having that ability to go across the map in a moment's notice is definitely going to benefit a lot. But now Solid School, I'm sure they knew that was going to get picked up, but their answer to that is going to be the Joanna and the Uther for the Cure. It'll be Jazz and the Cure. Now, I have been seeing a pretty common resurgence of double healer. So that is an opportunity for a Solid School. Though if you are doing something like that, it does require having that hyper carry on the team. Something like the Vala typically. Though I believe Greymane could also fulfill that role. So that could be something to watch out for a Solid School. But right now, Inting for Globes are going to lock in the Diablo for Brandon. And the Hanzo for Juan Pablo. They're going to have the damage. They're going to have the engage. But again, with their team comp, they're still not really showing too much. Most likely, it's going to be the death ball composition with Dahaka split pushing. But we'll have to see as we go later on into the draft. But Solid School going to ban away the Medivh. And I think that makes a lot of sense. Medivh's kind of just really good at countering a lot of what really every single team wants to do. And is able to bring out a decent amount of DPS, especially once those Arcane Rifts do get stacked. Like I said, Inting for Globe's going to ban away the Vala just to remove that hyper carry potential in case they were considering the double heal. Double heal is still possible to do for them, and there are still avenues to play it, but without that hyper carry, it definitely becomes more difficult to actually play the composition correctly. So it'll be interesting to see what a Solid School do lock in. And it's going to be the Greymane and the Sonya. So with Mundane Zebra being the last pick, double heal is definitely still possible. Sonya and Greymane should have more than enough damage during these teamfights to bring it out. And Joanna, though it's mostly AoE, so it's kind of fake numbers, but Joanna does deal quite a bit of damage during teamfights as well. So those opportunities are still there, but Mundane Zebra in that flex role could definitely pick really anything at this point. I think just those 4 heroes, it already makes it a pretty balanced team comp. Last few picks going to be the Anduin for Kavkavar and the Li Ming for Albatox 30k. They have pretty solid burst. They have a lot of range, and I think that's the most important thing. And their engage seems pretty solid as well. They have the Diablo. They have the possible Dragon Arrow from Hanzo. Most likely will be the Dragon Arrow. And the Light Bomb from Kavkavar. So their team fight should be pretty solid. And last pick gonna be the Genji for Mundane Zebra. So they're not going to go with the double healer. I know I was pushing pretty hard for it, even though there really wasn't any reason for it. But Genji able to traverse the map pretty quickly as well. Able to get onto that backline, especially. Hanzo and Li Ming both kind of struggle dealing with the Genji. And not a full draft breaker, but it will definitely be difficult for Inting for Globes to respond to. Well, with that, the draft is done, and we are ready to head into game number 1.
Prepare yourself for battle.
All right, and here we are. As I just realized I forgot to do predictions, but oh well, that's life. Sometimes you lose. But a Solid School, there looks like they're going to be starting by grouping up to the middle. Inting for Globes are going to be out in the top, and it is that game number 1 for that at least temporary first place position in the heroic division. Now Brandon's getting ready over in the mid lane. Concept is over in the bot side, but they're sending 3 up to the top lane for Inting for Globes. This should be a very interesting macro start. Now it's going to be the 2-2-1, but I mean, I'm not even going to continue trying to pretend I know where they're going to be moving their members. But it's going to be 4 members strong over in this mid lane right now. Mundane Zebra, in the meanwhile, going to take that watchtower. And it is going to be the scatter shot coming through for Juan Pablo. So we'll be able to scale decently into the late game. We'll have that % health damage just now. Brandon looking for a Mundane Zebra. But just going to be able to deal a little bit of damage. Obviously, Mundane Zebra doesn't really care too much about it. And we'll be able to just shrug it all off. Concept's going to be pushing over into this bot lane. And Azuro's going to be the one to match. And actually, they're bringing quite a few members over. The Kyra's going to be here as well. Has the Hammer of Justice. But Dahaka, historically, not the easiest target to go onto. As Mundane Zebra still being a pain on the Genji, doing what Genjis do, which is get in the way. I could make sure no one's ever on their horse, make sure everyone's constantly dismounted, and actually getting decent bits of damage over onto Brandon. But now Solid School gonna get started on their bruiser camp, and when you have the Greymane, it's super easy to get onto those stronger camps earlier on. Has a lot of damage, has a lot of survivability, especially with the Kyra there, as Hero gonna tank up a little bit of the damage to prevent some damage to the wall, but obviously still losing a decent chunk of health overall from that push. As Jazz gonna get body blocked a bit by Concept, but neither really wanted to engage. Both just want to get over where they need to, but now Brandon trading once again with Mundane Zebra. As Concept is there to push in the lane. Now the Bruiser Camp already here in the mid lane. Will get matched soon by Inting for Globes as they get one more hit. And should be able to defend and maybe even potentially counter push on it. And now the push has already happened in the topside. Concept just going to be grouping up, trying to get some of that soak back for the team as Siege Camp gets cleared by Azuriel. Now this could be an opportunity for Inting for Globes to get this push in. They just cleared away the Bruiser Camp as Jazz walking forward with the Condemn. Neither side has started the engage, but now they have the Chastise onto the backline. The Cure in a bad spot, needs to back away. About 200 HP, but the Condemn will buy enough peel. Jazz was there, and the Cure was able to just walk away. But that's still going to be the push getting into the walls. Now they're looking for Mundane Zebra, getting pretty low. Chastise lands as well. But again, the Condemn from Jazz just putting a stop to the plate for now. Though Inting for Globes definitely taking the advantage in terms of the health bar. Right as this first tribute is going to be spawning. But now Mundane Zebra just trying to prevent Brandon from getting there. The Flask going to land as well. A Divine Star not going to be able to heal Brandon. Chastise as well. Just trying to buy some space, but Brandon could be in a bad spot, and they have the stun. Leap of Faith will be there, but Mundane Zebra able to dash forward and will be able to get the first blood for a Solid School. And now without the tank, it becomes a lot harder for them to start playing for this tribute. However, the health bars on a Solid School, they're not really good right now. And Divine Star actually going to buy a little bit of space. Mundane Zebra sitting at 200 HP. Albatrox looking for the magic missile, but Hero going to be down here as well. They have all 5 members. Azuriel starting to get pretty low on the bot side as well. Now they will be able to take the play, but Jazz starting out really low and actually gets hit. Capkivar trying to get the final auto as the Hero. Brandon riding in with the mount, but Hero going to be able to defend it. But now the Chastise is there, and Hero's going to be the first blood for Inting for Globes, as Jazz is able to walk away. So overall, probably still a victory for a Solid School. They were able to get the tribute, and they're going to start stacking up for that curse. Now Juan Pablo and Cav Kivar are going to get started on that siege camp over in this bottom lane, and that will help them with the push at least slightly. Now Albatrox getting jumped on by Azuriel. And I forgot to check this, but it is actually going to be the cocktail build coming out from Azuriel. So that will be a lot of burst damage, and it seems like that's kind of their play. They want to jump onto one target, and they want to absolutely burst them down. And I think when you have an Uther, that makes a lot of sense. Obviously, the Divine Hammer going to be able to provide a lot of CC as Jazz. With the Iron Skin, not going to get stunned up into the wall, but the Overpower will still force the Iron Skin out. As now the Shadow Charge into Azuriel, but again, all the cooldowns have already been used. The Cure coming in from the side now. Looking at Albatrox, not going to be able to find them as the Cure just barely going to be able to dodge away on the Chastise. Now the Condemn brings back 2. But the Tribute is spawning, and it doesn't look like a Solid School want to contest onto this. They're looking more towards the mid lane and the top side. Now the drag from Concept not going to land. Hero winning out on those trades, but now the team fight could be brewing on the bot side, but it is just going to be Jazz getting overpowered into the back line. But it's a Joanna. They're not going to be able to burst it, especially with their Hanzo over in the mid lane. And now Concept's just kind of hiding in the brush, waiting for Hero and Mundane Zebra to get this push, and then now going to start clearing it away with the Swarm. And now has the drag on a Mundane Zebra, but obviously not going to have enough damage. And they're taking down this wall entirely, getting a lot of really good damage. And we talked about this map being a macro-focused map. This is what I'm talking about. Even just taking out the wall this early on, it's a pretty big win for a Solid School. Now, it is slowly getting answered over on the bot side as Albatrox kind of trading the mana for the Cure's health bar, which in turn trades it for the Cure's mana bar. But the Cure can't block everything as they will get stunned up, starting at pretty low. The teleport and the Chastise as well, and with the final shots, Albatrox is going to be able to get the kill. Now Jazz coming in from the back line. Level 10s, though, are available for Inting for Globes. So they will be able to trade the top wall for the bottom wall. And they're also going to be able to get a kill for it. Now Jazz trying to just dismount Brandon Kafkavar will be able to safely walk up to the mid lane. Now the Tribute is up and available. Hero is here. Mundane Zebra is here. And most importantly, they do have control of that watchtower. But because of the numbers disadvantage, could be difficult for them to play for it. But Mundane Zebra doing what Genjis do best, trying to get in the way. But now they're trying to get onto Mundane Zebra. They will be able to get the kill. Lightning Breath is going to get used as well, but not even necessary to finish off that kill. Now Jazz hiding in the brush. Going to get caught. Going to get found. Currently has the Iron Skin, but the Iron Skin is going to expire. And now Jazz getting body blocked and will get finished off as well. Albatrox has more than enough damage to get that kill alongside Juan Pablo. But that's going to be pretty big win for Inting for Globes. They're going to have that second charge. They're going to have that second tribute. as they are slowly but surely gaining that level lead. And if they're able to get this third tribute, which by the way is in a pretty good spot for them, they could get quite a bit on this map. They could get some pretty good stuff, but now they're starting on the boss. Hero already there, going to be able to spot them out, and the leap has to be used defensively. Brandon was already there, and I think if that leap doesn't happen, Hero definitely goes down. And this is where things get difficult, because the tribute spawning in 20 seconds, the boss is going to go down for Ending for Globes now. They should be able to match the boss on the bot side, but I don't know if they're going to be able to match this curse. So it's really going to come down to their defense. Now, Concept's already hiding in the brush, getting ready to prevent this rotation, but doesn't seem like it's even going to be necessary, so we'll go back to the mid lane, and we'll clear this out. And on top of that, with this curse, it's also going to be their level 13 talents coming out in the midst of it. So this will give them a lot of opportunity. This will give them a chance to really take advantage of the curse. Now, the curse on its own is already really powerful, but they've already taken down the top fort. Now the boss is pushing on the bot side, but Concept is here. Will be at least able to clear away the wave. Will be able to deal a little bit of damage to the boss. But now they're pushing onto this top lane wall, looking for the potentially this keep. The boss is still really healthy. And when you have such long range with the Li Ming, with the Hanzo, it's so difficult for them to engage. But now Jazz gets down into the wall. Jazz stays the wall. Light Bomb into the backline. No only going to land on a 3, but now D-Shield. One Pablo at 30 HP. X-Strike going to be coming through from Mundane Zebra. But now the Lightning Breath dealing a lot of damage with the protections there. Same with the Dragon. They're able to trade it back. As now Hero's trying to spin a win, but the teleports from Albatrox have more than enough damage, as now the trade's just going back and forth. But Inting for Globes, they are able to take down all 5 members, and they're pushing it with boss, and this could be an angle to end. 9 minutes in, just one big team fight. That's all that Inting for Globes need. That's all that Inting for Globes want, and they really want to keep that #1 spot to themselves, and right now, they are being solid gatekeepers. Now, the respawn times are pretty low, but this is going to be a difficult defense anyway. Mundane Zebra going to get stunned up into the wall. Brandon just trying to buy as much space as possible. The boss is still alive. Albatrox just throwing damage as much as possible, and that will be it. Inting for Globes going to win game #1. I mean... So that was a really, really early game time, 9-2, but I think, I've said this before, but there is no other way to emphasize this. This game was not as one-sided as the stat line makes it look. It was just that one super clean fight coming in for Inting for Globes. They were able to take control of the curses. They were able to get the boss alongside the curse. Both really good moves. Definitely would get them a pretty solid lead. But that 5-for-1 team fight, that really brought them over the edge. They were able to push it in, and they were able to take that game #1. Now, this is a best of 3, so we still got more action on the way, but we're going to go to a short break. As Sonar Fungus, thank you for the Prime sub, as I was saying that, but we're going to go to a short break, and when we come back, it'll be game #2, so don't go anywhere. All right, and this was definitely one of the shorter breaks, but we're into game number 2. Almost immediately, Volskaya Foundry is going to be the second map. Oh, let me just get that into my production thing. But either way, we are here. We're going to get started on this next draft. And I mean, that game 1 definitely seemed a very abrupt with the ending. Now, Cursed Hollow definitely has that issue where the curse is so powerful that if you're able to get a big team fight while the curse is active, it's so easy to push in for the end. But again, the draft still moving very quickly. Solid School gonna ban away the Lucio and the Medivh. Inting for Globes gonna ban away the Vala to start and ban away the Oriole. So pretty similar bans this time around. However, Solid School gonna ban away the Medivh in the first phase instead of moving straight into this, instead of pushing for that second phase. I'm trying to remember who they banned out. It was a healer. I don't remember which. There's so many healers that are good in this game, so not too surprising. But either way, first pick is available. And Dahaka, still being in the pool, definitely going to be the first pick. Locked in there for Hero. And this time around, Solid School, they did take that first pick for themselves. So Inting for Globes decided on this map, by the way. For anyone who is keeping track at home, who is the first pick, who is the map pick, as we see Joanna Leoric with the janitor skin, by the way. You always got to wear that. Got to give thanks to the janitor for keeping this game alive. But Brandon going to be playing the Joanna and Concept on the Leoric. So pretty standard offlane matchup there, Leoric and Dahaka. Neither side should be able to take each other down in the 1v1. Both are very safe and difficult to gank for different reasons. But the next 2 picks going to be the Muradin for Jazz and the Chromie for Azuriel. So this is going to be a pretty different draft this time around coming out from a Solid School. Muradin not going to be as good in terms of peeling for the backline, but at the same time, Chromie is a lot more long range, has a lot more safety, and should be able to just deal damage over top of the team fight and just maintaining a safe distance. Now the next set of bans is going to be coming through shortly. Inting for Globes, this time they're going to ban away the Anduin, so a lot of differences in the draft this time around. And I think the Anduin is a pretty solid ban there. Obviously, the Muradin Light Bomb combo is really powerful, very easy to get that Light Bomb exactly where you want it, especially if you do get those talents that increase the range of Muradin's jump. Can find some pretty interesting angles with that one. But a Solid School gonna ban away the Greymane this time around. So 2 of the big hyper carries not gonna be available this time. So Inting for Globes, the Hanzo is still available if they want to play that again. Obviously, it's a pretty safe pick, works in most team compositions. And they're going to leave Juan Pablo's pick for now, but they're going to take the Falstad for Albatox 30k and the White Mane for Cav Kivar. Now, White Mane, really good at those single target heals and also incredibly good at anti-burst team comps. That Crimson Aegis provides so much value, that extra armor, that massive burst heal. And it's in an AoE, so could definitely turn around team fights if used in the perfect spot. And Falstad will be able to scale into the late game quite well. And Volskaya Foundry, because it takes so long to get the objective, being able to sit on those control points, typically stuff that scales will work out better. And also a lot of teams just don't even bother trying to play for those objectives. But now last 2 picks going to be Rhaegar for the Cure and Genji once again for Mundane Zebra. The final pick still available for Inting for Globes. They are lacking a bit on the stun department. And it looks like that's going to continue, but they do have the Phoenix for Juan Pablo. So we don't see Phoenix too often, but when I do see it, it usually pops off. I've noticed it a lot in the offlane specifically, just able to deal so much damage overall. It's a really powerful hero in the right circumstances. And considering its 10th pick, I'm sure Inting for Globes think that this is the place to lock it in. Well, with that, it's time for game number 2. But before that, quick word from the Tokubi sponsor. But with that, that was Legend of Mushroom. Link is in the chat, in the panel down below. It's an idle RPG. I'll rub those lamps, get those items, and watch your numbers go up as you advance through classes and advance through power. And even just installing the game and later deleting it still helps me out a lot as a streamer. So thank you very much to all 5 of you that have downloaded it so far. But right now, let's get focused on the game instead. It's going to be NGS Heroic with Inting for Globes versus a solid school. Now, both sides just grouping up into that mid lane. And they're both just trading back and forth. Money Zebra just throwing those shuriken into the back line. As both sides just trying to get into a good spot. Brandon will be able to get the condemn onto the entire wave, and that should give them first move laser cutter going out over top of everyone. As Juan Pablo will be able to buy enough space, they will have the first rotation on the side of Inting for Globes. But now, right now, they're going to walk up into the top. I'm going to send 3 there as Concept going to be in the bot lane into Hero, which is pretty normal. Now the drag is going to be coming through, but Mundane Zebra is here for the damage as well. Drain Hope is there, but will be forced to use that Wraith Walk to get back to safety. Still gets taken down about half HP. So a little bit of pressure gained there for a solid school. As Mundane Zebra going to appear once again in the mid lane, just trying to poke on a Juan Pablo, but the shield more than enough. Now the fortification camps are back up, so Inting for Globes going to get started on theirs and will be matched by a solid school on the left side. It's going to be the Cure and Mundane Zero. However, there are 3 members for Inting for Globes. So as I say that, Brandon just going to be leaving and Hero going to be joining in. So technically still 3v2 just for the opposite teams. Now Brandon and Jazz just holding those mid lanes. Both fortification camps are done. Juan Pablo going to be holding one of the turrets. The Cure going to be holding the other. Laser Cutter not going to be able to land onto Mundane Zebra, as both sides just trying to get into each other's way while also still accomplishing their goals of hitting those camps, making sure they have their waves pushed in. And I was going to talk about the talents earlier, but it is going to be the Gathering Storm for Albatox. Going to have that extra little bit of burst damage, going to be more of that mage setup. Now, we have seen frequent flyer pick pretty often, especially on a map like this. That's pretty slow. There's a lot of opportunities for double soak, but this time around, they decided they want a little bit more of that burst damage. They already have the auto attacks coming out from Juan Pablo. Now the Biotic Emitter. The fight is brewing. Both sides do have their level 4 talents, as Concept is going to be here as well. Wraith Walk to get in the middle of everyone, as Akira and Jazz trying to stand on the point, but lots of damage coming out over top. Jazz going to be sitting at 200 HP. Mundane Zebra with a lightning rod will get lowered as well, and because of that, they will be able to take the Biotic Emitter on the side of Inting for Globes. However, they did use their turret to get that, and the Cure is still holding on to theirs. So it will still be, I'm not even sure what to call these, one appliance. That's what we're going to call it for now. One appliance for each of these 2 teams. But the more aggressive one on a solid school and the healing one for Inting for Globes. But because they did get the camp, they're also going to walk away with a little bit more experience. As again, Mundane Zebra just trading on a Concept Hero. We'll be able to heal back up, realistically, any damage the Concept's able to deal. And with the Well Concept, we'll be able to heal back up to full HP. But now the Siege Camp going to get collected by Kavkavar on the top side. And a solid school got theirs as well during my monologue, but that was already cleared away. Now the control point is getting started on this bottom side, but Inting for Globes, they're ignoring it for now. They're playing for this top lane push. Storm Brandon might be in a bad spot, but again, not enough DPS to really prevent Brandon from walking into the rest of the team. As now the push is going to continue. Juan Pablo trying to push them away, trying to keep Jazz away from this wall. And the Siege Camp is starting to get a decent bit of damage. Same with that Hammerang coming out from Albatox, able to land right onto Jazz. Now Jazz shouldn't care too much, has that trait, will be able to heal back up, but it's still going to be moments where Inting for Globes, they're just going to have the HP advantage. They can keep walking forward. As Akira is starting to get a little bit into the backline, throws down the totem, but not going to be able to catch anyone out with it. The totem's going to be cleared away pretty quickly. And the wave is cleared, but most of this top lane wall is already gone because of this play. Just a little bit left on one of those cannon towers. As the drag not going to land by Hero, but the laser cutter is, and now they have the condemn on a Cure. Cure's starting to get a little bit low. Few autos, and that's going to be the first blood going towards Inting for Globes. Now the Biotic Emitter is up as well. Concept is here with the slow, but the Dwarf Toss from Jazz coming up just in time. As Juan Pablo actually got pretty low there, but luckily with a little blink away, gonna be able to get back to safety and will be able to get that shield back up. Now Brandon still holding on to the point, just tanking up the damage from Mundane Zebra. But this Genji, bit by bit, will be able to deal quite a bit of damage there. Now Juan Pablo and Cav Kavar will be able to take this fortification camp. One more circle from the laser cutter, and they will have that second turret available to them. And as I said that, I actually did notice. A 1-for-1 trade over on the top side. I didn't even realize they were fighting. That's my bad for missing that. But it's going to be 1-for-1. Mundane Zebra came out the victor. Was a 2 versus 1. So overall, still benefiting Inting for Globes. They had to send less resources to get the same result. But that's also going to be 2 turrets now in the hands of Inting for Globes. They were able to take it off the Cure during that last team fight. But now the overtime is there. 99% for Inting for Globes. And the Protector, though it does take a while to get it, is also one of the most powerful objectives in this game. And they will be able to secure it for themselves. Now Brandon is going to be the one piloting it. And it looks like Juan Pablo gearing up to be the gunner's seat. But no one's walked in quite yet. And it's actually going to be Cav Kavar on that healing row. And now they're looking for Juan Pablo into the backline. We'll be able to refresh onto the shield. And with a blink away, we'll be able to find space. And the Stormbolt will not land. So a lot of trading going to be going back and forth. And now the mid lane wall is going to be done as well. Albatox here just autoing onto Mundane Zebra. Mundane Zebra taking down pretty low. And now they're going to start looking for the fourth. They're already taking it down to about half HP. As Jazz looking for the backlane, just trying to prevent the DPS. The Avatar going to get popped. Level 10s are now available. Cav Kavar jumps out, throws out the Crimson Aegis. And the Ancestral Healing will land onto Jazz as well. And now they're still looking for it. They will have the Blessed Shield and so much damage onto Jazz, but they will survive. Mundane Zebra with the extra, trying to buy some space, has the deflect, and is able to just jump over the wall. 130 HP left, but that's more than 0. As Brandon forced to walk away. Jazz threatening the Stormbolt, but not going to be able to find it quite yet. And Concept just pushing out the bot lane during that. Now, they were at least able to defend that mid lane fort, but that was still a ton of damage going into it. So not super, not the best for a Solid School, but again, being able to hold it for now, it'll still prevent that passive pressure from coming through. It'll prevent that passive experience from going towards Inting for Globes. So if they're able to win out another team fight, they could come out on top. Now they have the stun on Albatox, but with the barrel roll, we'll be able to get back to safety. And now they're walking forward. The Cure throwing down the turret, but now they have the Entomb, and it is the healer caught in. The Hammer dealing so much damage, and the Cure will be the first to go. Now Juan Pablo is starting to get low. Crimson Aegis comes out into the backline. Cav Kavar was stuck in the temporal loop, and now they have the Stormbolt, and they're looking for that White Mane, and they will be able to get her. And now the Condemned buying a little bit of time, but Brandon in the bad spot, 200 HP, but still holding on to the Biotic Committer, as now Concept was able to get a kill in the backline. X-Strike into the backline, but the Gust, the Deflect, just every ability getting thrown down. But right now, Inting for Globes are coming out on top. They've gotten 3, make that 4, and Jazz will be the 5th. And that's going to be a very delayed 5-for-1, I believe, in favor of Inting for Globes. Now they don't have a lot of health bars, but I gotta admire the restraint Brandon had. The Biotic Committer just sitting in the inventory the entire time. Never used, never needed. So that's going to be a lot of pressure coming through. And it just shows how under control those fights feel to them. Now they're going to be able to push the wave in top. They're going to be able to push the wave in mid. But because they were pretty low and they did lose Cav Kavar during those fights, they're not going to be able to pressure out too much. But that's still going to be a pretty big advantage level and a half lead. As now the Entomb lands on a hero. No longer has any way out, but Jazz is here to help prevent any play. It is just Concept and Cav Kavar, so the damage not going to be the highest with the offlaner and the healer. But the opportunity was definitely there. Juan Pablo going to finish off the fortification camp on the right side. The Cure slowly but surely soloing it down in the bottom left. And they should be able to take that for themselves. But now Inting for Globes, they're bringing their team all the way into the top lane. There is that siege camp pushing in. But again, with the Phoenix, they should be able to just clear it out very quickly. A couple of hits. And that's all that's needed. And now Mundane Zebra just getting in the way. But they have the Blessed Shield. They're looking for Mundane Zebra. And they're going to be able to burst down this Genji. And with that, they can continue their pressure into this top side. Trying to get a little bit of a push going. And just a little bit of DPS onto Azuriel. Already taken down to about 2/3 HP. Now the Cure is still around, so might be able to heal them back up. As now they're body blocking onto Jazz. The Laser Cutter as well in the backline. Now the Temporal Loop onto Juan Pablo. Will be able to blink away and disjoint that, so we'll be safe overall. But even talent here right now, so a Solid School definitely want to look for a fight, especially since Azuriel, they did hit level 14, will have that Quantum Overdrive, will have the one extra talent. So technically this is a power play. So Jazz going in, Heroes here as well, and they have the Purification Salvo going on to everyone. Azuriel starting up pretty low, and Juan Pablo will get the last hit down. Sensor healing will heal up Jazz, but the Cure starting to get pretty low as well. They're forced to back away, level 16 talents. Now up for Inting for Globes. They have their turret down, and they're continuing with their push. They want to take this fort as well. And now with the hammering into the backline, but Jazz going to be the one to go down. Albatox, or sorry, not Jazz, but sorry, the tank for Inting for Globes. I don't know why the name's escaping me right now, but Jazz will be fine. Lands a stun even on Juan Pablo, and will be able to back away. But it's a 1-for-1 overall. But the fort still going down in favor of Inting for Globes. They still have the talent advantage. And now Juan Pablo even going to get started on that control point. Going to try and get the protector for their team. And should be able to get at least some percentage on it. But because Inting for Globes overall, they did lose out a little bit in that last little skirmish. That will be the Biotic Emitter going the way of a Solid School. And this will let them get their level 16 talents sooner. Because it is going to be dangerous for them to try and fight until they have those again. And by those, I mean the even talent tiers. But right now, it doesn't seem like that way at all. Because Inting for Globes, they're starting to push over towards the spot side. They're sending 3 members so far. And they're just sending Brandon. Yeah, Storm Brandon. I totally knew that name. Out into the mid lane. And in the meanwhile, the Cure just going to be trading with Juan Pablo, trying to push Juan Pablo off of the Protector. But actually, Juan Pablo, with a Purification Salvo, will be able to get the solo kill, will even steal the turret, and will be able to blink away, will disjoin, and just autoing backwards, will be fine. 1v4, gets the kill, steals the turret, and gets out. As Inting for Globes, because of the numbers sent by Solid School, they're just going to be able to take down this bottom fort. They're going to get started on this bottom wall. And they should be able to take it down pretty quickly. Mundane Zebra is in the middle of everyone. Uses the extra. Gets quite a bit of damage over into the back line. And now they're looking for Cav Kivar. They have the heal, but Cav Kivar going to get burst down. Azuriel with the Sandblasts will have more than enough DPS. But how much more can they get? It is 4v4. The Cure is not going to be there either. That's a big pick-off for a Solid School to get. They have their level 16 talents now as well. So until Inting for Globes get their level 20s, they will be on even footing. But now Jazz looking for that turret. They're looking for Storm Brandon. They're going to be able to get the stun. The Iron Skin burnt down immediately. And all 3 Dragon's Breath landing. But Albatox in a bad spot. Dragon's Breath going to land with the stun. It's going to be another 2 kills going the way of a Solid School. Now, Juan Pablo, at the very least, will be able to take the Protector. And I think most of that idea is just to have some kind of pressure moving around on the map, even while 3 of their members are down. And Concept gonna be joining them over in this top side. Now both of them do go into the Protector, as Concept will get into the vehicle, will get into the mech. But it does force a Solid School to have to respond to this. They had a 5v2 on the map, and they're not able to take any forts. The pressure coming out of Inting for Globes is actually so gross to watch. They're just able to get every movement that they want. They're able to really get any situation that they want. And now Dragon's Breath is going to be coming through to clear out the mid lane, as the last remaining members from Inting for Globes will be respawning now. Just waiting on the fall stab, but with Flight, will be able to join into the fight very shortly if it does break out. But either way, for a Solid School, that's still not the worst. They were down almost 2 full levels. Now they're down slightly less than 1. And on top of that, they forced Inting for Globes to use the Protector in a way that doesn't really get them any net advantage. It prevents them from losing their advantage a bit more, but they don't gain anything. And they spent a lot of time sitting on that point. So, yeah, I guess overall, that was definitely a win for a Solid School. Though I'm sure they'd wish they would be able to get a bit more off that. But now all the members are going to start pushing up in this mid lane. And Concept getting that push in the top. They do have 1 cannon still available. They will be able to get at least some kind of a push there. And with this Siege Camp steal, they'll be able to get quite a bit more. And the level 20s are now available. So Inting for Globes, they definitely want to start pressuring there. And 88 stacks, by the way, on Gathering Storm. So this fall stat is very powerful. Albatox 30 going to be able to get massive, massive burst damage in these fights. And now they're going to have the Dragon's Breath going out over top. Brandon was in a bit of a worse spot, but will be fine. With that Iron Skin, not really in too much danger, especially with the entire team behind them. But now they're pushing onto the keep. Level 20 still trying to get found. Hero looking for the fort. Mundane Zebra just getting that mid lane pushed out. They're definitely okay giving away a keep. I think what they want to do is they want to be in a position where they don't have to give up too much more. But now Inting for Globes, they don't want anymore. They're looking for the game. And now Mundane Zebra, they're in the back line. They will be able to clear away the siege camp. They will be able to force back at least one of the members. But with the mid lane pushed out, Mundane Zebra doesn't really need to go anywhere else. And Hero will be able to answer back on that objective. Will be able to get the bot lane for it. And with just a couple more minions gone, they will have their level 20s. And the fortification camp is available for a solid school, so they will be able to take that for themselves. So level 20 talents are now there for both these two teams. And incidentally, it is going to be stuck in a loop. So that makes Juan Pablo a viable target again. Because while Juan Pablo can jump away with that warp and reposition and disjoint one of the temporal loops, cannot do that for both. So either the first or the second one will have to land. But now both teams just positioning a bit near the mid lane. It is important to note, Inting for Globes will have that passive push in 2 of the 3 lanes. As the Blessed Shield gets thrown out. Not going to land, though. But that's a pretty major cooldown. Not going to be there in the fight. And now they have aiming into the backline. Hero is going to be there, but not going to be able to find the drag onto anyone. So the Brush Stalker has been used as the talent does get completed. The quest, Mithril Mace, going to have that permanent attack speed. I believe it's 50% total when the quest is complete. Now Concept looking for a Hero, going to get onto the backline. Has the Entomb, but the Stasis already used. And now the Dragon's Breath in the backline. Jazz onto the backline as well. And they're just looking for it. They have the Temporal Loop on a Concept, but not even needed. Concept going to get burst down. Now they have the Crimson Aegis, so the armor has already come through. But it is just going to be the 1 for nothing. As the rest of Inting for Globes will be able to back away. Now it's going to be difficult for Solid School to push anything out because, again, they've already gotten the bot lane fort. The next one up is the mid lane one, but this wall is still really healthy. Hero's going to try pushing out that lane, and again, the 1 kill they did get was on a Concept. It is going to be that Leoric. And as far as heroes go, if there's any one hero you want to lose, you want it to be the Leoric because they're going to be able to respawn sooner, and they're going to be able to respawn in the middle of the fight. They can kind of choose where they respawn. But Mundane Zebra, as we see in the minimap, already going to be sitting on that control point C. And if they get the Protector, that could be an opportunity for them to push and even threaten to end the game because of just how late we are. But now Concept going to be respawning, looking towards Hero, as all 5 members of a Solid School are there. All 5 members of Inting for Globes are here, and Jazz aiming for the back line. But Hero could be in a bad spot, but they have the cleanse. And they have the big ultimate coming through, and Hero, Jazz, everyone's super low. It's going to be 1 for nothing so far. And it looks like it's just going to end there for now. Concept still trying to slow down Hero, but the siege camp is still there in the top. And Inting for Globes, they've already threatened to end the game like this before, and they're going to continue threatening to end the game now. And now the team fight could be breaking out again. A Solid School, they have to walk forward. They have to try getting something. Juan Pablo could be in a bad spot. Brandon already at half HP as Azuriel, just able to get a little bit of poke damage over top. But with the heals coming out of Capcavar, it's going to be a bit more difficult. The warp going to get burned by Juan Pablo. But the push still coming through bit by bit. They're damaging onto the core. They were at least able to clear away the siege camp. So this could be a better spot for a Solid School. They're in a much better position to defend. And it looks like they will be able to, as now they have the Temporal Loop onto Brandon. X-Strike as well, but the Cleanse coming through, and the Blessed Shield not going to land, but the Entomb will. And they will be able to take down the Chromie. Now Jazz still aiming on into the backline. Avatar pops, but the Crimson Aegis onto all 5 with the Wind Wall. Mundane Zebra stuck into the wall, has the deflect, but it doesn't last forever. And it's going to be a second kill for Inting for Globes. They're looking for more, and they're looking to end the game again. Slowly but surely, this push, very well measured, could be in a good spot as Hero still alive. Same with Jazz, able to get the Stormbolt into the backline, but Jazz just doesn't have enough damage. Both their DPSs are currently gone. They're trying to buy space, but the Cure gonna have to pay for it with his life. As now the trade's still coming through, but doesn't matter. Inting for Globes are gonna win map number 2, and they're gonna get the domination. So really big win again for Inting for Globes, and they're just able to play with such control. I mean, it's so difficult for a solid school to get anything done there. They were able to get a couple good team fights. They were able to get a couple good plays. As thank you to Anonymous for reaching level 40. Really appreciate that. And thanks for playing. But I mean, Assault School, they got a couple good team fights. They even got that 3-4 nothing. But because of that, Juan Pablo able to take the protector and able to get into a really solid position with that extra little bit, just preventing any kind of push happening from a solid school. So they got the win, they got the domination, and I'm going to see if I can get an interview going with one of the members right now. Give me one moment. Da-da-da-da. Give me one moment as I get that set up. And with this, by the way, I will also be able to do a double cast, assuming no one else has picked up the second game. So we will be having Macro Machines versus Magnitude Aftershock coming up next, Division B West, but that will be in about 40-ish minutes. So we'll see if anyone hops into the interview call in the next couple minutes. If not, gonna go to a break. And then when we come back with the extended break, I should say, we will be watching that second series. But, I mean, this has been an absolutely amazing game. You're done with that game? Getting 40 was not fun, sir? I mean, all good. Like I said, even if you just installed it and deleted it, I'd be happy. And I really appreciate you trying it out. That's all I ask. So, huge thanks and hearts over to Vendrick. As we do have someone joining in right now. Hello, hello.
Thanks for casting.
Yeah, always my pleasure. Now, sorry, can I ask who you were in that game?
Oh, I'm Brandon.
Ah, you're Brandon. Okay. So, like you all heard, I am joined here by Brandon. And, I mean, congrats on that 2-0. How does it feel beating a solid school?
It's pretty good. We played pretty well. It's a pretty clean game.
Yeah, I mean, the main question I have right now, that game number 1, what exactly enabled you to be able to win that game so early on? Like, obviously you had the boss with the curse together, but were you planning on having that big team fight to end, or was that kind of the team fight broke open, so you realized you could end?
We were just kind of doing the right thing at the right times, where we're just walking with our boss to go claim our free keep, and they fought us for some reason. I don't think the game should have ended. I think that it's kind of a misplay from their end. It's pretty risky, and I think it's a high risk, low reward. Where if we win that fight, we end the game. If they win that fight, maybe they save a keep that will be at 25%.
Well, I mean, either way, you got that massive team fight. I believe you only lost Juan Pablo in that fight. Everyone else just able to push in for the end. But then game number 2 happened. Now, game number 2 was a little bit closer. It is that Volskaya. But I was wondering if you could explain to someone, a noob like myself. So, a solid school managed to get a pretty good team fight into you. They got 3 kills, but you were able to prevent them from getting anything on the map afterwards. So how did that happen?
I don't remember when we had 3 people die, to be honest with you.
So the exact situation, I believe that was a fight near the mid or top lane. No, yeah, near the bot or mid lane. You got 3-0'd, and then Juan Pablo took the protector over in the top lane.
When we had the Punisher running. Yeah, I think that was just a bad stagger. That was mostly on me. I didn't expect them to be there because all their waves were pushing in. I think them not getting anything stems down to how bad their waves were, though. Generally, if your waves are pushing into your keep, you should probably go back and clear them. We also had the Punisher running where we could have kept an aim point. So I think if they were to try to counter push, we would just get more with our robots. so it's probably best for them to go back either way.
All right, all right. Well, with that win, by the way, and especially being a domination, you're now sitting at 36 points. And since you beat a solid school, I believe they're no longer able of catching up to you. So mathematically speaking, I believe Rodney's Imaginary Friends is the only team that can still contest you on that number 1 spot for the regular season. Now, is that something you want to be able to take for your team heading into playoffs, or does it not really matter too much and it's the playoffs that will really count?
No, we don't really care about placement. I think in most tournaments it usually doesn't matter, and it's just making playoffs. That the actual seeds don't really matter. Um, but yeah, we're not really worried about where the standings are either way. We're just happy to play.
All right. And then my final question to you then is, are there any shout outs you'd like to give? Is there anything you'd like to say to all your fans out there?
Yeah, shout out to my team. Shout out to our subs. They always jump in every time we need them between Elba and Psycho. And then shout out to you for casting.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for coming to this interview, and congrats again on your 2-0.
Thanks.
You have a good night. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
So with that, we are done here. Gonna go to a somewhat of an extended break. We'll see. It might even do some sponsor content. I'll decide literally in the moment, but we are going to be having that double cast. We are going to be having that Division B West game coming up, so be sure to come back in about half an hour for Macro Machines versus Magnitude Aftershock. Any of you that aren't coming back, thanks for watching this series anyway, and hope to see you around. We'll see you all in a few minutes.